Hello and welcome to Maths with Jacob. This lesson will focus on chance part 2. We are able to predict the chance or probability of some events. For example, in the last video I mentioned that a coin was tossed before the start of a tennis match to determine who serves. If Bob calls heads, what is the chance that head will show up? Most coins have a head on one side and a symbol on the other side representing a tail. And here are just two examples of coins. There's a head and that's the tail. That's a head and that's a tail. So there are two possible outcomes, but only one head. So the two possible outcomes are head or tail, but there's only one head. We can say that Bob has a 50-50 chance of winning the toss. We can also say he has an equal chance. Also, Bob has a 1 in 2 chance of winning. If we use a fraction to show the probability, we can work it out the following way. How many heads are there? 1. How many possible outcomes? 2. Hence, the probability of throwing a head is 1 over 2, or a half. The same applies if you call tail. How many tails are there? 1. How many possible outcomes? 2. Hence, the probability of throwing a tail is 1 over 2, which is a half. Now, let us look what happens if you roll a die. That is the singular of dice. So DIE means there's only one of them. DICE means there are 2, 3 or more. So if you want to find out the probability of tossing a 6, we do the following. How many 6s are there? 1. How many possible outcomes? 6, because there are 6 numbers. The probability of throwing a 6 is 1 over 6. What is the probability of tossing an even number? How many even numbers are there? 3. How many possible outcomes? 6. Now the even numbers are 2, 4, 6, but there are 6 numbers altogether. So the probability of throwing an even is 3 over 6, which is a half. The probability of tossing an odd number is exactly the same, because there are 3 odd numbers. Let's look at days of the week. What is the probability that you were born on Tuesday? How many Tuesdays are there in a week? 1. How many possible outcomes, which means how many days are there in the week? 7. So the probability that you were born on Tuesday is 1 over 7. Months. What is the probability that you were born in April? How many Aprils are there in a year? 1. How many possible outcomes? That is, how many months are there in a year? 12. So the probability that you're born in April is 1 over 12. Let's look at marbles in a box. This is an interesting example. Consider the following marbles in a box. 2 blue, 1 red and 3 green. 6 altogether. If you put your hand in the box, what is the chance of picking each of the following colours? The probability that you pick a blue is 2 over 6, because there are 2 blues, 6 possible colours, 6 altogether. Okay, 6 marbles. 2 over 6 is 1 over 3. What is the probability of picking a red? There's only 1 red, so it's 1 over 6. And what is the probability of picking a green? 3 over 6, because there are 3 greens. And that can be simplified to a half. So this video has given you a good introduction into how we calculate simple probability in the form of a fraction for a few events that we've seen.